Okay, so today I kind of want to talk about what it means to be self-disciplined. Like, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is gonna be like a very casual one, so like
Okay. Yeah.
we can chill,
Okay.
we can
Okay.
lay back,
back,
and
lay
then
back.
just have lose it up. Yeah, yep, yeah. No pressure at all. No pressure at all. So yeah, basically, I wanted to talk about you know self-motivation, self-discipline, this kind of topic, and then I have a name for it. It's called "How to Be Your Own Creative Director." When motivation runs out, discipline takes over. So what we want to talk about in this episode is we're tackling like the crucial skills for self-discipline and how to be your own creative director.
Cool.
Right? By saying that doesn't mean like, oh, you need to, get into like, you need to do like creative direction. No, not like that. It's more about like how you can run business like a small business to yourself and basically just kind of like, like the steps of like
Yeah.
getting motivated while if you're looking for work or you're just in general like being inspired as a younger or motion designer. Yeah. So okay, so I think I've been talking too much, and I feel like we should just start by introducing yourself a little bit. Like I do have some questions, but like you can just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Cool.
This is similar to the question that interviewers would ask. Tell me about yourself. And
Yes.
I always butcher that. But hi, my name is Tiffany Tedy. I'm a motion designer. I just graduated last year with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo. Yeah, we're classmates.
And I'm working at the Google Creative Lab as a
Woo.
motion designer. So it's been
Amazing.
a year, actually a year has passed. So
Nice. Hey, congratulations on your first year.
yeah.
How do you feel?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Feels like it wasn't too long ago that I started, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say, but I did like learn a lot in the industry.
Right.
I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I'm pretty sure Google is definitely very like intensive. Like,
Yeah.
everything is like
Yeah.
So great job, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah. And then I think another question that I want to ask you about you is how did you get started in motion design and what drew you to this field?
Oh, damn. Well, I think the first time I actually know of its existence is actually from SCAD's like major.
Oh,
program.
okay.
So like I hadn't like, of course I knew things move, but it just didn't like put in my head and be like, oh, that's motion design. I just know graphic design and call it a day.
Okay.
And so I think it was like I came into SCAD with a graphic design / advertising major.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't start any of those classes yet. So I was still taking like foundational drawings.
Right.
I didn't really have like a chance to play around with like Photoshop and Illustrator too much.
Right.
And then when COVID hit, I took like a huge break.
So you started during like COVID time and then...
like a little bit before. Like
2019?
2019. And I'm not 2019. And then 2020 COVID hit. I took a break for like personal financial reasons.
Okay.
I was like on Netflix, and like Netflix was a huge thing during COVID.
Yeah.
And title sequences started to show up
Gotcha.
in Netflix because
Right.
Yeah. And I think back then they didn't have an option to skip the intro.
No, not
right? So like
I don't believe so.
Forced to watch those.
Yeah.
But I happily was forced to watch those things.
Right.
And I think the first title sequence I saw was Queen's Gambit.
Oh my god, that one is so good. Yeah, I remember like like the board and the chessboard. The on the ceiling.
Yeah, but that was I also didn't know what that was. I was like, that's so cool. Then I saw Korean drama, this thing called Startup. They had like really cool illustrative title sequences.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's so cool.
Yeah. And
then I just like searched like SCAD's like design like programs, and I'm like, oh my god, what is that? I just clicked to every single one of them that seemed interesting.
That's cool.
And I saw like people's works like that they posted on their website. And I was like, oh, I want to take a class.
Right.
So that's how I kind of like discovered.
Get into. Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think for me it was a little like because my mentor in high school, is a SCAD alum, so he kind of talked me into this. But at the time there was no motion media or like digital media.
It
I
was
forgot the
called
name.
something else.
Yeah. It was called something else, but at the time, he was actually like I think he was like a second year alum of like scat. It was like a long time ago, so like it was really new at the time. It was like a film, so he went for like film and television that kind of thing because film is always a huge thing. So he kind of taught me into this, and then he was like teaching me how to do motion graphics. And I mean, I wanted to be like actually like a car designer before, like industrial design. Yeah, so I love movies a lot.
Mm.
And then as a kid, so he was like, try this out and see how you think. And I'm like, I actually do enjoy it.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Was this during high school?
Yes, this was year 8th grade or something. Yeah, so like my second year of like high school. Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. And then I got a chance to
Yeah.
meet like scat people, scat alum back in Taiwan, and then decided to come. Yeah, that was my journey.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like, yeah. Okay. So, I think since we're talking about motivation, I'm just gonna ask this question, but you don't have to answer this like right away. We can answer, gradually as when we moving forward, like in this conversation. But what motivates you in your work, and what aspects of motion design do you find most fulfilling?
Oh my god.
I think this is like a huge question, so that's why I'm saying, take your time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, let's just talk about motivation first. Like, what motivates you, right? Let's say, because we all know, like, when we're doing work, especially in motion design industry, sometimes a project lasts like 2-3 months long, and then every day you need to look at the same thing, and then you kind of like, maybe one day you're like, I don't feel that excitement anymore. It's like,
Yeah. I totally feel that.
right.
I think the motivational sources depend. It changes.
Yes, yes.
Going to different phases.
Right.
During
Right.
college,
Yeah.
I reflected a lot, and I realized that my motivation is not just like the passion of like doing motion design, but to be honest, a lot of it came from like proving
Why you can do that
my work kind of thing. I think like because I was like maybe one of the only like ones that went like in the family that went into like art.
Right.
And like moving to SCAD or like moving to the US was such a big risk.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to prove my worth in that way. So,
right.
Okay. Like, I need to do so well so that everybody's proud of me. And I think that comes with this toxic like people pleasing tendency. So like I even thought about it like other people's like is my worth like defined by other people's like
right. Yeah. No, I feel you.
But I feel like we all feel that way sometimes.
Yeah.
We want to prove.
I mean, especially as immigrants, like
like as an international student, it's like going here is already expensive, and like and I'm not just going here, like going to an art school that's
right.
It's not easy to like get good paying job.
I know, yeah,
right. It's hard.
Yeah.
So it's like there's that feeling, and I came here with like being broke. So yeah.
No, that's even more challenging.
Yeah, like there's also that feeling like I was supporting myself. So, like I need to pay myself back.
Right.
And I have to support my parents, my sister, the son's boy.
Right. So okay. Yeah.
There's that too.
No. Yeah.
That's kind of that went deep so fast.
No.
Honestly,
yeah.
Like at first, my motivation is because I'm so passionate.
Right. You want to prove yourself.
Yeah, which is true at some certain point, but I realize it comes from a place where it's like I want to prove to like relatives, other relatives, distant relatives.
No, yeah.
Didn't like, oh, Tiffany went to art school. Wow, blah blah blah, doctorate, blah blah blah, lawyer, blah, blah. Maybe they never said that. Maybe just in the back of their head,
Yeah,
like,
but you feel it.
Yeah,
you feel all the emotions.
Yeah,
I can definitely relate to this because my grandma was just like she doesn't understand, but she supports, which is great.
Totally,
which is great, But like she's always like, yeah, art school. Are you sure about that? Everybody thought like I'm an artist. Yeah, exactly. Everybody think I'm an artist. I'm like, yes, I am, but like I also doing this. Yeah. And then this is like, yeah, we're talking about money. Hopefully. Yeah. So no, okay.
I don't know the answer to the question. Like,
No,
I think that's like the biggest motivation. Even now, it's like, come on, like we live in this world and that we need that like that's the
yes, of course.
To find other hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Arts to expensive.
Yeah. No. I think like that's definitely a good answer for sure. No, seriously, I can relate because for me, I am having a hard time to find motivation. I've talked to some of my friends, including you, about it. Like, after graduation, I kind of feel like I lost like the purpose of doing this, like doing motion design. I lost the passion about doing it because I feel lost, on the way, and then I don't find any motivation for myself anymore. So I think, like remembering why you started all this, it's a good, strong motivation for sure. Yeah.
It's definitely hard though.
It is.
I think what's like, not saying that during school it was easier to find motivation, but there was kind of like a destination that we all like wanted to achieve. It was like graduate with like good portfolio to get a job. That was like that main thing, and that made everyone like, I think like everyone. I don't want to speak for everyone, but like for myself specifically, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm like in a burnout, and like I have a creative block, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, just take a break tomorrow. I need to push again. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep.
If you'll be behind if you don't push.
It's for this, it's for me to graduate. I only have like 1 quarter left, 2 quarters left. There was like that end goal,
right?
But then now it's like, I guess it's harder, like to like find motivation. It's like, I live life,
right?
But what is life?
Yeah, I think especially after graduation, like you suddenly lose like a track on things, like because in school it was so easy. You always have like projects, due days, everything, and you have classes to attend to, and then like you have a school life, which is so much easier than going out like to the world, like, and then just working, so that was definitely a big like change, and I'm still trying to find a way to kind of like get into this, so but no, I think that means I was thinking about a question and I now forget. Hang on, let me rewind a little bit. But I think no, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like because from my memory when we were in school. So for those who doesn't know Tiffany was always like the one that has like super strong, like self-discipline, like I remember your spreadsheet. No, it is from my perspective, because I remember you have this crazy like Google sheet, like an Excel sheet where you have your schedule and everything, and she literally wrote it down like hour by hour, like what I'm gonna do, which is crazy to me. I mean, I kind of do the same thing, but like I don't really like execute it like as what it says. You know what I mean? Like I think for me it's just like something that for me to kind of look and then like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do today. Not like this hour, this minute, It's Tiffany's always like that. And then especially during our senior project, I remember like, oh my god, you're always like, and then you're always in Mantu, like, which is our a major building, like you're always there in front of a computer. That's how I remember you, and it's good as well.
I think that's also because I didn't have a computer technically. My personal computer is MacBook Air, and it's like the oldest and the thinnest, and it just barely does anything. Even like loading Google is like so slow. Maybe it's the internet, I don't know, but I just needed that.
Right. No, but I feel like I'm the reason why I'm bringing this out is because I like in my head I'm like, dude, there's always a reason why somebody's successful, and then I feel like for me, like when I look at you, I feel like you work really hard, and then you know what is going on and what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like that was always like that kind of motivates me a little bit by seeing my friends like working really hard on chasing their dreams, sort of. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry.
An hour yet?
It's only 15 or 16 minutes.
I think I'm not on my period. Whoops.
Oops. Yeah, but no, like the reason why I'm bringing it out is because like I feel like you have your motivation and you have your dream, and then you kind of push forward. I think that's really important to remember, because for me, I always have a dream, but like you said, but like, or motivation, but like it changes over time, right? And then it kind of feel like, yeah, you get lost, especially in this, like, in 2025, right?
Yeah.
I almost want to say the job market, because like a lot of us are still looking for jobs and everything, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know now. I feel like that's an entire different topic. But yeah, let's just focus on this
Okay.
for now. Yeah. Just stay put, everybody.
That one could be like 3 hours, man.
Oh yeah. No, I've had 3 days. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's kind of bring it back a little bit. Okay, since you mentioned about you working at Google, and we all kind of have an idea of what, Google is such a huge company. They're doing incredible work. So the question is, in an industry that often involves self-directed work and remote setups, what systems or routines have you found most effective for maintaining focus and productivity? Oh, I kind of wanted to kind of direct it into this is very like,
I think like Google work and like personal work or like other client works outside of work is like a bit different when it comes to the way I approach my discipline.
Let's just talk about it. Yeah.
Going back to that people pleasing tendencies with work. The question is kind of like, can you give me the question again?
Yeah. So basically, involve like self-directed work, remote setups, like systems. Do you have any systems or routines to kind of help you out to kind of be like self-disciplined?
Yeah. Well, I feel like discipline relates so closely with motivation.
Right. I feel like this is why we're talking about this. It's so confusing.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. It's really hard, like to kind of like define what you're like, how you discipline yourself.
Right.
But it definitely comes a lot from like motivation. What's like, why are you doing this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, with work is like there is a deadline and people are expecting you to show up with work.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how I go like, damn, I just have to do this. I'll do this. I'll just like do this. And it's also like I'm surrounded with so many creative people, especially in the creative lab.
Yeah.
And so there's also that feeling of like, oh my God, they make such good work.
Yeah.
That I have to be like, try to be on par with them, which is so hard sometimes. It's like being in a room is like going to Harvard Law School, like for like creative people. It's like everyone there is just crazy talented, and it's like sometimes like brings me down a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing well? Blah, blah, blah. But I think that's like the thing. It's like, oh, it's work. I gotta get it done.
Yeah.
But outside of work, it goes back to that proving people situation where I'm like,
okay.
I have to be like, okay, I'm already in this job. Like, I'm thankful that I got this opportunity, but I still need to constantly show why I'm here,
like
why I deserve. Yeah, like I know people don't think of it that way, but like it's just for myself. Like sometimes I do, and that makes me happier. Like when I make I do passion project or just like a little design experiment in the back of like work. I'm like, okay, I actually remember that I can do this, because at work is not the type of motion design we learned at school, or the ones that we're actually passionate about. It's mostly like more like UI based, which is not what we learned, which is totally exciting too. And
for sure.
But it's not like the creative the let me splatter some paint here, but within design like challenges that you do yourself, it's like, oh, let me just put this color here because I feel like it, or like it looks good. But like at work, it's a lot more like thought, like you have to think about
like systematically, like thinking like, oh, here's a system, and I need this because of this.
And a lot of people also have like their own like perspective, like putting that into your work, but with like little projects.
I think that's interesting because like the reason of this episode was because when I hear about like the work that most people, like most motion designer friends that I have like are doing right now, it's actually not just about traditional motion design that we learn in school. Like it's not like making like a lyric video or title sequence. Like in real life, it's sometimes it's just about like drug ads or like it's very different. It's very different.
Drug
and then,
ads?
like
Oh,
I mean like a commercial medication, like pharmacy.
pharmaceutical
Sorry,
ads.
let me rephrase that.
Drug
Sorry,
ads,
like
yeah.
drug is like a medicine ad. Sorry, no, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. And yeah, the reason why I have this episode is because when I was
Okay.
you're good. When I was doing work, I realized like when you're doing something motion design ish, let's just say it's not really motion design, but you still gotta do it. Like sometimes you kind of freak out, right? And that, I mean, when the time like when that hits you, like that's why I feel like so discipline is important. Is because like you build a system to kind of know like how you handle things, sort of. And that's how I think about it. That's why I kind of feel like you said, motivation, self-discipline, this is all like related to like, personal growth and everything. And then I think it's important for motion designers too. I know. Yeah. So like, I'm just kind of wanted to put like a note there. Like,
I think a good tip to do is to also like a lot of the work that we did at school is we're kind of replicating imitating
yes,
other actual good creative work.
Yes.
But we have to remember like motion design's purpose is to kind of like make like messages easier
and clear.
clearer.
Yeah.
And we have to fill those spots that did not exist.
Visual communication.
Yeah. Or like we're not good. Like for example, like pharmaceutical ads.
Yeah.
Like we all like when we see like previous like examples or like current examples, it's like okay kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why you're there. You kind of need to make it like good.
Yeah.
But obviously it's hard when clients don't see that. But you kind of have to like find a way to like. I'm not going off topic. But
No.
Reminded me of that. Sometimes it's hard. Like
it is. Yeah. That's why I feel like self-discipline is important. That's kind of go back to this. Yeah. I think
count how many times Peter said self-discipline.
No, like I think like okay, the reason why I'm saying it because I feel I'm a very lazy person. Like no, that's the truth. That's the truth. No filter. But I am a lazy person, and I know I need to be self-disciplined. I need to have a system for myself to kind of push myself to work. Because like I can literally get out at 6 a.m. and do things I love, or I would just sleep till like 2 p.m. and and do nothing. I'm like very drastical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like why I'm bringing this out is because I feel like when we're in school, I know like you become a little bit self-disciplined only because you have a project and then you have something like a professor telling you what to do. You know what I mean? Like, and then like, you have like exactly. You you're doing this because you kind of need to, not because you want to. I don't know. It's kind of like shifting to like
you have to want.
You had to want to. Yes. It's So that's why I feel like that's why I keep saying self-discipline because I honestly I have a hard time to kind of like like always some untitled things and then like I don't know, like do you have any tips like for us about like how you stay in the zone?
I think it's a lot of the things that push me is when just living in New York City itself. It's crazy because like everyone's just like hustling, so like I feel like I have to keep up. I keep saying this, but it's also like everyone's doing that, and so I feel like I have to catch up.
Oh,
okay. In a way, like I have to like at least do something like this. But the way that makes me go like, okay, I want to do this.
Right.
I try to look for little projects that I'm actually passionate about.
Okay.
Like I guess if it's not like client work, like my own little passion projects, it's like recently I just tried to do like this like little like series of like postcards of memories
right
in the past. Just like my purpose was a strategic purpose. It's like I want to show that I can like do a workflow between like Cinema 4D, AI, and a lot of the things I learned at Google. And just like putting my own little flair of like storytelling.
Yeah.
That's like the strategic passion project.
Right.
But it's also like I'm not just doing random things. It's like, oh, it's my own memories, it's all my own story. So that makes me interested. Like I want to see how this turns out,
because you're gonna see yourself in there.
Yeah, like those kind of things. Or like recently, I just did like this like design test on like the Waffle D where I made like this matcha strawberry. I'm like, like I actually did some like matcha designs in the past. I'm like,
nice.
Great. So,
oh, okay.
So I never posted that. It's on Instagram.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, I want to do something of like a feeling.
Right.
So it was just
post it, by the way.
I posted it.
Okay.
I did like it's like a strategic thing where like I want to do some things in it.
Oh, that's okay. I have to bet now. Okay.
No
I saw it, but like I couldn't. Yeah.
Peter.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
But it's like those things that make me like, oh, okay, I want to show that like I want to test my cinema 4D skills because I touched it,
right,
for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me do something fun with it. I like matcha.
Yeah,
this will be fun. I love the colors of matcha.
I thought that's just so important because like for me, I'm like, oh, I'm so afraid of not like things not turning out the way that I look, and then the way that I want. So I kind of just like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Like yesterday, like before this week, I was like, I want to do one more like design today. I mean, yesterday.
Right.
But
you did.
Like after I opened the software and went into it. I'm like, things are not working out. I'm like, I'm tired. I shut it down.
Yeah, like don't say this shit. Yeah, like that kind of thing.
I deserve a break, which is true. Like this week is like week off. So
rest.
Like rest. Look out the window. On the balcony. Like I like suntan.
Right.
So,
so that's just enjoying the life. Enjoy life.
So I think starting from like something that you're like interested in. Like going back to school projects.
Right.
Even though it's like a need.
Yeah.
In the end, you chose what you wanted to do. Like what
true. Yeah. You make it almost like make your project work for you. Right. Basically. Yeah. So don't just think about it's a project that you need to finish, a deadline that you need to chase. It's more about like how can I do things creatively, how I can push this into the way that I want, and then turn that into a my project. It's not professor's project, by the way. It's not like that. Yeah. Okay. So I think you're gonna mention about like having breaks and everything. I feel like that is such a good time for us to kind of go into like the burnout section. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I was talking about a little bit about burnout. So I mean, I do have a question here for you. So how do you differentiate between a healthy pursuit of discipline and potential burnout, and what are your methods for maintaining a sustainable pace? Okay, so this question I feel like is very straightforward, but basically, because we were just talking about, like having breaks is so important. And then I mean, for me, I definitely relate to this because I was, for those who doesn't know, in my senior year, I was running SCAT Motion. Is a huge student-led annual event.
Yep. Amazing.
For motion design students. It's a motion design conference. And then I was the co-president of it. I was running with my partner. And then I feel super burnt out after that. Like
I saw that firsthand.
Yeah. I feel like I'm still having a little like PTSD right now.
So because like after that, it was like graduation. Boom.
Oh, no. It was senior project and then graduation.
Oh, right. So, but it was too short.
It was too short.
Too short.
Yeah. But so that means I feel like I almost want to use the word victim here for burning out, but I kind of chose that. So, but I'm just, let's focus on the solution instead of the problem, right? Yeah. So back to the question, do you have any methods of maintaining like a sustainable peace, for not like for burnout or for self-discipline?
I feel like this is what probably a lot of people already know, or a lot of people already like talk about it. It's literally like to take a mental break.
Right.
Like I always want to just, when I take breaks, I hope to not touch the computer. So that's what I did after I realized that I didn't have that like specific motivation. But then in my head, it's like, oh, even if I take a break today, it's gonna be fine. it's not gonna be the end of the world. Like I won't come out that day with like work, but at least I'm having a good break. So that kind of thing. But it's not just like physical break, it's like mental break.
Yeah, no.
It's like kind of accepting and understanding that
you need breaks.
You need breaks, and motion design in your life. That is
so important. Yeah.
That's like, maybe it's a hot take, I don't know, but like
no, I don't think it's a hot take. It's just the truth.
It's the truth.
It's the facts. Yeah.
But it's like being successful motion design or not being successful motion design, or doing it or not doing it anymore, does not like make your value go down. Right. Yeah. It shouldn't determine who you are. Right. I think like understanding that helps a lot with like if motion design doesn't exist anymore, or like if AI takes over, for example, right? I'm gonna be fine. There's more to life. Right. And I think knowing that helps me take a break, but also helps me to go back to, work. Because I'm like, I still have to do this anyway. Right now, while it's still here. Yeah. It's in front of me, I'm going to do it right now. I'm still young. I'm going to try my best. Because I know that there will be a time when I get older and I don't want to do this anymore. Yes. I want to travel the world and be rich. But how to be rich is to work hard now.
Yeah, no, that's totally valid. I mean, like, this is important. Yeah. I mean, this is probably hard for students or someone who's getting started in motion design to hear, but motion design is not your life. I think it's a skill to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time when we talk about it, people treat it as like, this is something that I would do for the rest of my life. But like, no, it's not. Yeah. It is important, and it is still fun. But like, the way that you're treating this shouldn't be like, it's either this or
nothing at
all. Yeah.
But not to say that people who do like end up doing this like for a very long time is like wrong for doing that. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. Yeah. But if it's not your like path, that's also okay. Or it's not something that you're passionate about in like 5 years or 3 years, or even like today. Yeah, it's also okay.
Yeah. Just like me starting the podcast. Yeah. Like you, I mean, it lists in any kinds of form, right? Like motion design, it's not just about making graphics. I feel like it's great.
It's communicating.
Right. Visual communication.
Like this.
I love that term so much. Yeah. Or not visual communication. I don't know. What do you mean? I mean, it's a podcast. Oh, okay. Hi, camera. No, yeah. So I think we sort of kind of answered that question a little bit. Yeah. So like having like a mental break is important. I mean, that's what I didn't do. Like, because you're still in the school. Even after the conference, you're still like pushing yourself. Especially you have like senior capstone project, and you you needed to put everything in. So that's what I did. And I was super burnt out. And right after that, I have a summer internship. So like, I didn't really like rest at all. And then I was so burnt out. I was so burnt out. I feel until today, I still feel like, like, I should have done this like differently. Yeah. So for me, I'm still finding a way to kind of
totally. I feel like it's inevitable to like.
Right. Not everybody will.
Yeah, I feel like if you. Even if I were to turn back time and then try to do something else to like maybe like try to believe in my heart that this is not the end, like in that moment during college, I don't think I'll be able to do that. I think I'm just gonna I don't care, I'm burnt out. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna get so tired. I don't care, because
especially when
so
especially other people are doing that, right? Oh, everybody is doing that.
Everybody around you is doing that, and like who's talking to which company, kind of thing. And it's like,
oh my god, that was so.
That's what, as much as I love commotion, I get like PTSD from it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
It's like that feeling of like, I know it's just, companies are just people, but it's like, 60, like hundreds of students trying to talk to like
one person.
Yeah. Like 10% of like, so it's like that part is just really hard to see, hard to like be in.
Right.
Especially when everyone is desperate, you're also desperate. Yeah. But at the same time, we can't force what's not supposed to be, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard, but
yeah. Okay.
We're not upset about it.
No. Okay, so I think this is another interesting question that you might be able to answer. So, could you discuss a time when your motivation was severely tested and how you leveraged discipline to push through and complete the project? Okay, let's just say, for me, senior project was right after my burnout, right? And then
Yeah.
I think for me, the reason why I needed to push it was because I want my senior project to be shown like on the big screen, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But like, is there a time, like, can you think about that? Like, if there's any moment in your career that you like severely burn out, like, you feel like challenged?
Honestly,
Yeah.
in college, I was doing fine. Like I had a bunch of moments where I didn't have the motivation. I just take one full day off. I go to like a cafe,
That's
and
good
then
though.
I go to cafe. I'm like,
No more caffeine can save me. Oh, sorry.
but I would hang out with friends. That's the most important. Hang out with friends, and the thing we talk about is not school related. It's like others, likes, not marriage, but like, like we just talk about, oh, what do you want to marry?
Right, like something that is not work,
not school related.
Oh, that's so important.
So that helped me take a break and go back to it
right
immediately. Maybe it's also like there's classes, there's deadlines, and that helped me like, oh, I only have one day off,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
The harder part is actually like after college, like at work, because it's like the 9 to 5 thing, it's a daily thing,
right?
And again, you're surrounded with people who are actually so freaking talented, and you're just starting. I'm just starting, and I still feel like I'm not like great at like a lot of things, but I'm surrounded with people who are great at everything. Yeah, and so it's like a little hard to say, but I guess that's the moment where I feel like a little unsure, right? Like, if that's like the question, was the word that you were using earlier?
Oh, so how do you differentiate between a healthy pursuit of discipline and potential burnout? And what are your methods of maintaining a sustainable pace? I
guess it goes back to like when I'm doing work.
Yeah,
you can't escape work,
right?
I do like Monday to Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's more of like once I go home, I try to shut down anything that I think about work. Right. Anything I think about work design. Sometimes I like recently I'm like I was able to like do little passion projects, but that's because I was slowly going to a break from work. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have that slight motivation to do something. Yeah. But then during work, I get so tired from work that I come home and I just don't want to do anything about work or even just anything design related, motion design related. All I want to do is just go home and cook dinner and just watch TikTok about other things besides design. Right. I don't even want to open my like design Instagram account. Oh yes. Because then I see a lot of people do amazing work. Then I get super like, am I lying down here doing nothing? Right. Yeah. So I like to separate that. And that helps a lot. Right. Okay. But no, that's perfect. That's like the best strategy, best literally like just taking a break. Maybe I should be traveling soon. I should travel. Yes, you can always use a trip. That's how I fix my, I burnout and then my anxiety like towards work as well. It's like, for the record, I travel a lot, right? And then people saying I travel too much. So like that's how I fix my scene. Life is short. But of course, there's things like where we shouldn't run away from things. But at the same time, it's like knowing that you need a break. It's, and then you just take it. Yeah. So that's how I recover from my burnout right now. Honestly, I'm just gonna share it with everybody. I go to the beach. I just go out. I go to the mountain. I go hiking. I, took a train and then to see my family, like that kind of thing, right? So like, do whatever you must. Do whatever you must. Or even just like, sometimes like because we live in the city, like New York City, we go out to get coffee. That for me, that was like healing time, that was like hanging out with friends. Oh my God, like it's always nice. Yeah. So so like, of course there's not like a right answer or wrong answer or like a, or
even like an answer to this. So I guess everybody just kind of needs to find your own way to deal with it. Yeah. Okay.
We'll keep coming back.
Yeah. All right. So next question that we have here is, in what ways does being your own creative director impact your approach to discipline, and how do you hold yourself accountable?
Mm-hmm. And that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's a very hard question.
Right. It is.
But I think even if your role isn't like a creative director at work, but in the end, you have to be your own creative director. Even at work,
Yeah.
And I think like how it impacts my discipline is mostly like a creative director is kind of like you have to have your own vision.
Right.
Like the difference between a creative director and an art director or designer is basically like the creative director is in charge of the vision. What's the goal, you know?
Yeah.
And that helps me like kind of like see it in the big picture. Like, like I want to make this work for this, or like I want to make this work that tells the story of this.
Yeah.
And that alone helps me with like my discipline. Like today I have to like do the colors. I have to choose the colors, or like I have to like finish this one style frame or whatever, so that it's like one step closer to the goal.
Yeah.
So like hand in hand, it kind of helps discipline in a way.
Yeah.
And the second part of the question is,
how do you hold yourself accountable? Like
this is a funny thing actually.
Right.
Like in college, I used to do, like I told you, I used to do like that calendar, like Google Sheet.
Yeah, the Google
Sheet. Not even Google Calendar, Google Sheet. And I would like make a table for every single day. Yeah. And I would highlight, like I would
each time slot, right?
Color code like a specific project or a specific class. And like at 3 p.m. I'm gonna fix the style frame. Right. Like I'm gonna do the style frame kind of thing. And how I would do it is like, so like being a creative director to me is like also being a producer. Yeah. In a way, like I would think like, oh, if my end goal is that by the end of the week I want to finish this goal. Right. Then I work my way backwards. Like Friday, what am I doing? Thursday, what am I doing? Right. Each day, if I have 100% of my energy, 70% of it maybe goes into a 70% workload. Oh, then I'm like, that means I have 30% left. Right. What can I do in that 30%? Let's say it's so simple, like just fixing this Easy Ease. Right. Which is like only 5%. Then means what's the rest? Right. Kind of done. That's like, that helps me. Right. That's more of a producer type of thing.
But I think I need to clarify this question. It's like, because we talk about like being your own creative director, not saying you have to be a creative director, but this is kind of like a metaphorical kind of like, let's say
your own motivator.
Yeah, your own motivator kind of thing, right? So I think that's important because like I think everybody should know like in school or after school you're basically on your own, right? And then you're kind of like a one-person studio, so you need to learn and you need to know about how to do production work, you know, how to set your calendar, how do you make a production plan, and how be your own creative director, making the decisions on your design and like animation. So yeah,
and it also goes back to the strategic thing,
right?
I always tell people this, like even when it comes to your portfolio or like even in college, I started becoming strategic with what my projects are gonna be. So it's like, was that too far? Oh my god,
a little bit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What? Okay. So basically, like, oh, I've done 3D here, I've done 2D here. Where do I want to improve myself on? Right. And I like the next project means I want to do something like this.
And then you just focus on that.
Yeah, focus on that. But of course, of course, it depends on like the style or the brief. You know, like I can't just like suddenly like do 3D because I want to. But it's like comes hand in hand. Right. But you can kind of think of it in
a way. About the idea.
Yeah,
I want to improve this, and let's see how I can incorporate. Yeah. Like, let's say 3D into this project.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good way to think about.
So like my last senior project, is like I was not confident in 3D because I only did like one project. I was like, but I need to. So I was like, the last 2 projects will be 3D, but I want to mix it at 2D in my second project, right? Because I need to show that too. So I became a little bit strategic in that sense.
No, that's good.
So that's like the creative.
Either way, you say you're not confident in your 3D, and then your whole senior project was about 3D, and then you want so many things. That's really good.
Before that, I was like, oh my god, like what did I do? Like, why did I say like
you wanted to all 3D?
like all 3D? So like the way I did it was also before, like Professor Brandon was like, I think Professor Brandon knows this, but like before we started doing like style frames, I already started testing out what those style frames look like, because I want to make sure that I can do this.
Right.
And if I can't, I'm gonna like immediately like back out or try another solution.
Yeah.
With that story.
Yeah.
But it worked out. So I was strategic in that too. Like, oh, he wants like 6 style frames by this week.
Right.
I've already made like 10. Because I was already ahead.
Yeah.
And so I like give it in like bits and pieces.
Crazy.
Strategic.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. It's kind of like
And then I think recently, like holding myself accountable. There's this funny thing. Like I like my feed to look really good, or like at least my feed to look interesting.
Right.
So I would like find inspirational things or like inspirational colors, then I just like post them in like this feed planner app.
Yep.
So that I can see like, oh my gosh, my feed will look good if I post these 5 more things.
No, I mean that's part of
doing
that. Yeah, that's part. Yeah.
But it motivates.
Right. That's like part of the fun. I have the same thing as well. Like with my LinkedIn, I wanted to look like certain way. I wanted to kind of like frame myself as a certain role. So like, you know, you always have a plan like, okay, this is what I need to do. And then, So yeah. No, that's good.
I don't know if that answers the question.
No. I think it, in a way, it certainly does. So yeah, thank you for saying that. Well, okay. It's almost an hour of talking.
Oh my
God. Crazy. Yeah. But like, I think, well, we definitely get a lot of thoughts today. And just want to say thank you again for agreeing to do this for me, for everybody. And then, thanks again. And then if you haven't checked out Tiffany Tedy's senior project, which is, do you want to promote it a little bit? I mean, it's an old project, but like,
I mean,
it's really good, guys.
Looking back at it now, I'm like, but it's on my Instagram at Tedy Mode. It's pinned.
I'll put it here in the video. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, but thank you again, Tiffany, and then thank you everybody. Or see you next time.
Thank you.